Welcome back to Fox and Friends. Dollar General stores turning a serious profit as Americans are still feeling the pinch of inflation as they try to stretch every dollar that they can. The franchise is raking in close to $10 billion in its first quarter alone, as more shoppers are now flocking there for basics. Here to react, Making Money host Charles Payne and Big Money co-host Taylor Riggs, both on Fox Business. We'll start with you, Taylor. So it seems like the dollar store is sort of a bellwether. It tells us a lot about the economy. What do these numbers from the dollar store tell you about the health of our economy and the future?
I think they're telling us that the consumer is still feeling really pinched. I think people and some of the elites will come out there and say the consumer is good, you just don't feel it. And I think it's really important to look at companies like Dollar General, who are saying that's the people who are living paycheck to paycheck. Those are the people who are, instead of going to Walmart, they're going to Dollar General because they're feeling really stretched. Dollar General is certainly making money, but I think less so than they otherwise would have because they're having to bring back a lot of those promotional items, bring back some of those discounts to make sure that people are still buying things. So more people are coming in the stores, but they're buying less expensive and less frequent items. So that's telling us the consumer, the low-end consumer, I think is still hurting a little bit.
Yeah, you know, Charles, I saw this with Bill Maher on an interview where he was like, you know, the economy is doing great, but people just don't know it. And I just thought that has got to be so infuriating to hear from a multimillionaire like him. Yeah. When's the last time he went to a dollar store or a Walmart or figured out that Walmart was too expensive for him, so he had to go to a dollar store?
I've had some knockdown, drag-out fights on my show almost daily. I invite the top economists on Wall Street. Now, here's the one thing I've noticed.
Tell me about these fights. I want to hear it.
Particularly labor economists in general, I find 99% of them are liberal, very liberal labor economists. And they sort of, you know, so when you got to be careful, like there's all kinds of schools of economy. But they say the same thing. There's some marching orders out there. Now, keep in mind, you can argue about the aggregate, which means everyone. So it's sort of the old joke is like, you know, you and Bill Maher can walk into a bar and a bartender would say, hey, two millionaires has walked in. Right? But he would be the millionaire. You know,
yeah.
So it's if you add it all, I'll give you an example.
So so your point is, yeah, they're counting the rich people. Right. They're not counting the.
No, they count them all, but they add them together. You can't. You take 10 poor people, add one billionaire, and you can say, "Golly, look at the average. It's amazing. The economy is strong." Yes. Right? So take the $2 trillion that President Biden poured into the economy under the auspices of COVID emergency. We did not need it. That's why inflation spiked up. So if that money was in a bucket, $2 trillion in a bucket, and all of it, and then you tilt it this way, it's all with the 1%. Everyone else up here, they spent their stimmy money. They have nothing. An economist will look at the bucket and say, wow, there's $2 trillion in there. 90% of the people, and they say, but we ain't got none of it. We don't have it. And so to Taylor's point, the Dollar General thing, their traffic is what went up. When Dollar General has to go down on prices, you know things are bad. And again, everything was consumables. That's where everything was. Things like home products down big time. By the way, we got personal spending numbers yesterday. Really scary. Inflation is taking a massive toll. It was already taking a toll, but again, you spend your stimmy money. You spend the raise that you may have gotten. You max out your credit card. Now we're seeing where it's really tightening up, like to a point where people are really starting to suffer. This is going to be a tough, tough summer for Americans.
They're pulling back on the fun discretionary items like beauty and really going into the basic consumables, the things that they absolutely need.
Necessities. And by the way, the 4 major necessities that we need, all of those are higher than inflation, higher than our wages. They've all grown higher than our wages. So if you even adjust it for inflation, we have not been able to come back on that. And again, American Airlines this week, one of the worst performing stocks in the market, even that revenge travel thing. You see the numbers, they look pretty good, but there's the way the airlines are coming down. There's enough signs out there that people should be concerned. Ironically, though, when we do this show, I feel like these folks know.
Oh, yeah.
The audience we're talking to now knows. It's the audience that's trying to BS them. It's the Bill Mahers of the world. It's the Wall Street economists of the world that are trying to BS them and call them stupid. Yeah. You don't know how great you have it? No, I don't. I just missed 2 car payments. Tell me.
Well, it's just like the court case we had this week. The verdict, I think, will be at the ballot box. And I think people who are suffering are going to tell Bill Maher and everyone else what they really think come November.
It's the economy, stupid. And that's what people are feeling, the emotion behind the economy.
Taylor, Charles, thanks for bringing the emotion. I love it. All right. Thanks a lot.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.